Welcome to Daily Armor. Today I'm going to be in Genesis chapter 29, looking at verse number 31. I was still kind of pondering on the God who sees, and that's the description that Hagar named, after the Lord, that He's the God, thou God seest me. He saw her, and that was so shocking and so personal. And He does see us. We do have that promise that He sees and that He knows, He is aware, and He is active. Sometimes we think He's not doing anything, and He's doing so much more than we can see or comprehend. But we know that He knows all, He sees all, and Hagar actually experienced that. And I'm going to talk about another lady today who experienced that as well. And I want to talk about Leah. And about her situation. Another situation similar to Hagar's, where these were circumstances outside of her control. This was not by any means anything that she had done wrong, that not her fault at all. But as her father was manipulating Jacob, Jacob being a trickster, kind of got things turned around on him, where he gets tricked. She finds herself in a very difficult situation. I want you to notice verse number 31. It says, "And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, He opened her womb, but Rachel was barren." So what's taken place here, in case that you're not familiar with this, and go back and read, starting at the beginning of chapter 29, and read through that if you're not familiar with this account of Leah and Rachel, these two sisters that are now both married to the same man. The man Jacob, who was in love with Rachel, the younger sister, but his father-in-law switched brides, and now he's married to the older sister, which was not his preferred. This was not what he desired, and it's not something that was her fault. She was a pawn in her father's hands. And now she's married to a man who does not love her. And I just feel like that would be a horrible, horrible experience, to be married to a man that does not love you. And so He saw that. He saw that she was hated. And not that she deserved any of this, that just simply that his desire, Jacob's desire, he was in love with Rachel, the younger daughter, and now he is married to both of them. And so now there's a rift in the family. Now this is difficult. This is not the way marriage was ever designed to be. And because of that, there's trouble just down through the years. But I want to focus on that, how she responds to the Lord, and what God did about that. God saw that she was hated. I want you to notice that God saw that she was hated. And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, He opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben. God saw her situation, and she felt seen. Because look what the scripture says. "And she called his name Reuben, for she said, Surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me." She named her son Reuben, which means see a son. See, God is looking and watching, and He has given me a child to share with my husband. And what He's done, God has given her hope. Now her situation is still difficult. She's still got some difficult years ahead of her, because she's in this marriage, with her sister and her husband, and this is terrible circumstances. But God has seen her. She has felt seen, and you can just see a son. I hear excitement. See a son. Reuben means see a son. Look. God has given her hope, and joy through this child. And she's anticipating it's going to get better. It's going to get better. She's anticipating that, because God has seen her, and she has felt seen, and she has experienced His love. She has experienced the miracle of this child. and she's got hope. And all our hope is in the Lord. And we do have that promise that He sees and that He knows. And He sees our afflictions, and He sees our, the circumstances, and that there's so many things that that happen in our lives that are just completely out of our control. And we didn't ask for it. We didn't deserve it. We didn't want it. But yet that's life. Life happens and things take place, and it's so out of our control. But where does our hope lie? That God sees and that He knows and that He is doing something about it. Now, did God remove her from this situation? No, she's still in this situation, but she has hope. And I just want you to hear the joy and by naming her child. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben, for she said, surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me. See, a son. Look at this wonderful blessing. She has hope. She has joy in spite of her circumstances, in spite of what her husband can't give her. Then that's the love that she desires. God is giving her love, and God is looking at her, and she is feeling seen, and she is feeling noticed. If your husband or your best friend or your whoever in your life, your parents, your siblings, if they're not noticing you, know that God does. God notices and God sees, and He can make you feel so loved and seen, and He can make it so personal. And we see that here in for Leah, and in even just in the name that she gave her son. See, a son. See, there's hope. See, God sees, He knows, He's aware, and He intervenes. And He knows just what to do, and He knows exactly when to do it. He knows how to make it personal. And there's hope in that, and there's joy in that. And maybe it's something small and that only means something to you, but God can make it so personal that you know He's done that in my life, and I felt seen. And I'm so thankful that He knows that He is a God. He's a God who sees, and He knows, and He loves us, and He cares for us, and He knows how to communicate with us to where we feel seen and we feel heard, and that we have hope. And all of my hope is in Jesus. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again soon.